Yes, I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about Nvidia. It's very important not only to our portfolio, but also to the broader sort of stock market. And we sort of have this slide here from one of the latest presentations from Nvidia, and we think it's very important to talk to. So Nvidia right now gets a lot of attention for its GPUs, and you can kind of see that at the top of the page, where it has sort of the Hopper GPU, the Blackwell GPU, and the Rubin GPU at the very top. But it's an entire platform that Nvidia are selling. So it sells down through the stack, and you can see the other sort of four other products here highlighted on the screen, be it the CPU, but also the NVLink, NIC, and switch, that Nvidia are basically designing products to enhance the sort of GPU. Each of these are sort of fully optimized in order to give sort of superior performance. And so Nvidia have created their own type of, essentially an ecosystem around the GPU to improve the performance and extend the competitive advantage. But also as well, it's on a 2-year cycle. So you can see here Blackwell's 2024, 2025, but also there's an annual refresh as well. So this annual refresh essentially avoids the kind of boom bust cycle that you might see within other sort of semiconductors and other products, where customers, for example, if they know something new is coming down the line, they'll just wait and hold off on orders. If you have an annual refresh, it avoids this because you might as well buy what's available right now. Also as well, it extends the competitive advantage. So whilst another competitor might basically try and match the existing specs, Nvidia have leaped to the next generation. Also as well, we think it's very important, and it shows Rubin out to 2026 and 2027. Nvidia has sort of visibility in its own development and its own sort of pipeline of innovation, but also as well, if they're willing to share this with the financial markets, you're pretty sure they're sharing this with their sort of key customers, most likely under NDAs, but they're basically telling their customer base, look, this is what we're producing for 2026, 2027. If you want to build your data centers, which of course require a lot of infrastructure, not just in the construction, but also the power, the energy, and the cooling, which is necessary to go on, you can see this, basically this roadmap, which we've got going forward into the future. And so we've seen actually customers right now are seeing the Rubin platform, but they're also ordering for Blackwell and still also ordering for Hopper. So in the last quarter alone, Nvidia said that demand for Hopper is still increasing, is accelerating. So whilst Blackwell's ramping in the sort of fourth quarter of this year, the Hopper revenues are still accelerating. Hopper's not taking away demand from Blackwell. They're working in tandem. They obviously, Blackwell's, whilst it's much more powerful and much stronger, there's still a lot of demand for Hopper out there. And then turning to the next slide, we thought it was just interesting to sort of show it on a visual basis. Sometimes it might be quite difficult to kind of see these things just sort of conceptually. We can see here just the size and scale of the racks, as well as the products that go into it. And then if we turn to the stock specific slide, just on Nvidia, there's sort of a couple of points which I want to sort of highlight here again. Firstly, obviously the share price chart, as Chris mentioned, we've had to sort of reduce the position a few times over the last couple of years that we've owned the stock, but also as well, Nvidia basically got an entire sort of ecosystem. So whilst I showed the platform of the sort of Hopper and the Blackwell, you also have CUDA, which is their sort of software language for programming, as well as sort of software libraries that are available for basically for companies and enterprises to advance their artificial intelligence. You're also seeing a very strong breadth of demand. So whilst there's sort of a lot of talk about big tech companies, the likes to say Meta and Microsoft, you're also as well seeing sort of sovereign governments creating their own centers of excellence because they don't want to leave artificial intelligence in the hands of sort of corporates. The governments also want to be able to control the destiny. As well, of course, you've got large enterprises as well who also see the benefits of artificial intelligence. The management team are exceptional. You can sort of see the vision that they have and also sort of see this path of artificial intelligence. They're also very efficient in terms of their execution, in terms of firstly the pipeline, but also as well securing enough orders from the sort of supply chain out in Taiwan, being able to increase the cadence of production and to make it go faster and faster. it's all very, we really rate the management team very highly at Nvidia. And then lastly, on valuation, we still think Nvidia trades very cheaply, especially compared to its growth rate. We have seen on websites like LinkedIn and forums like that where people think that it's a bubble, and we kind of want to dispel a couple of those myths. Firstly, you sort of see these charts of a price to sales ratio of Nvidia, and it might look optically high at 40 times price to sales, but we think this is completely the wrong metric you should be using when looking at Nvidia. Price to sales is when those companies don't make any earnings. Nvidia does operating margins of about 65%. So that sort of 40 times price to sales is actually like 26 times price to earnings. Secondly, I see people doing charts of the sort of trailing 12 months, looking backwards in time as to what Nvidia have done, thinking it looks expensive. What we're looking at with Nvidia is the future growth, what it's going to earn this year and next year and going out further forward. And especially when Nvidia basically doubled their revenues last quarter and tripled its earnings, it's much more relevant. So when we're sort of making our forecast and triangulating, firstly, the demand for artificial intelligence, we're looking at the overall money spent on sort of compute power, spent on data centers. We look at the value that artificial intelligence brings to companies. So the likes of Meta, they've spoken a lot about the impact that artificial intelligence has had on their business, where they've been able to grow revenues by 20%, but also as well, operating margins have increased by almost 1,000 basis points as they're able to be much more efficient using AI, not just in sort of recommending the next advert, but also as well in terms of the conversion and delivering better attribution for its advertisers and customer base. So companies are able to accelerate earnings, do it much more profitable. So we think that will basically drive much more demand for Nvidia's products, as well as looking at the supply chain, talking to companies based in Asia who are doing a lot of the manufacturing, and we're seeing what sort of orders Nvidia are placing and what demand they expect. We're very comfortable to see a very strong path of growth for Nvidia, not just over the next year, but the next sort of 2 to 3 years. And so in conclusion, we think AI is really still at its infancy. We're really at the foothills of demand here. We can kind of see some of it going in waves. So there will be sort of rushes of excitement, but we think that overall AI will have an impact, not just in the technology sector, but also across many other sectors, in say healthcare, in industrials, so for example, robots, as well as consumer. It'll be across the back office in terms of legal and finance roles, but also in terms of front-facing roles, such as in sort of sales and demand generation. And we think it will just be like the internet, which will basically transform the way that we do business, and companies will have to adopt AI. And so with that, it's Nvidia. They're the main company enabling all of this. And as we see much more powerful large language models coming down the line over the next year or two, it'll basically be a much more higher spend on Nvidia's equipment.